America stands at a crossroads. On one side, a former president whose name is synonymous with controversy and populism. On the other, the first woman of color to hold the second highest office in the land, poised to make history yet again. As we head into the most consequential election of our time, the question is, which vision of America will prevail? Welcome to The Sagan Show. Today, we're diving into one of the most important political rivalries in modern American history, Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. These two leaders, who couldn't be more different, are locked in a battle that transcends policy. It's a fight for the soul of the nation, one that has shaped and continues to shape America's future. From their meteoric rises to their defining moments in the 2020 election to the upcoming 2024 election showdown that could reshape the country, this rivalry is about more than politics. It's about who we are as a country and who we want to become. Let's explore this deeper. Before politics, Donald Trump was a symbol of wealth, success, and power. A real estate mogul turned reality TV star, his image was larger than life.
There is a new billionaire in town. Donald Trump is a major deal maker.
But in 2016, Trump shattered all expectations when he entered the political stage, running as an outsider. His message was simple but effective. He would drain the swamp, fight the establishment, and return power to the people.
I will bring it back, bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again.
His unfiltered rhetoric and populist message struck a chord with millions of Americans who felt abandoned by the political elite. Trump wasn't just running for president, he was leading a movement. He spoke directly to the anger and frustration of everyday Americans who felt ignored by Washington. His rise wasn't just about politics, it was a direct challenge to the system itself. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris's journey was entirely different. Born to immigrant parents from Jamaica and India, Harris's upbringing was rooted in activism and social justice. She forged her path through the legal system, rising from prosecutor to California's Attorney General, where she earned a reputation for being tough but fair. Her election to the U.S. Senate in 2016 brought her national attention, especially with her sharp questioning during Senate hearings. Harris's path was one of hard work and determination. While Trump represented wealth and media power, Harris's rise symbolized the American dream, persistence, resilience, and a commitment to justice. She wasn't just a political figure, she was someone who understood the complexities of the legal system and the power structures in America. Trump's presidency from 2017 to 2021 was one of the most divisive in American history. His policies on immigration, trade, and race relations sparked protests across the country. His America First platform resonated with millions.
As President of the United States, I will always put America first.
But his presidency also alienated large swaths of the population, particularly with his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and his controversial rhetoric on race. For many, Trump was a hero, a figure who finally stood up to political correctness in the coastal elite. For others, he was a symbol of everything wrong with the country, a man whose divisive language and policies were tearing the nation apart. Whether you loved him or hated him, Trump commanded the stage and made it clear that he wasn't backing down. On the other side, Kamala Harris entered the 2020 Democratic primaries with high hopes and even higher expectations. Her presidential campaign, though short-lived, was marked by a series of powerful debate performances that showcased her sharp wit and readiness to take on anyone, including Joe Biden.
ET community.
But Vice President Biden, do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America? Then. No. Do you agree?
Her campaign faltered, but she left an indelible mark on the race, positioning herself as a progressive force to be reckoned with. Kamala Harris may not have won the nomination, but she emerged as a key player for the Democrats. And when Joe Biden tapped her as his running mate, the stakes of the 2020 election reached new heights. Her historic candidacy as the first Black and South Asian woman on a major party ticket electrified the race. Trump immediately went on the offensive, branding Harris as nasty and questioning her qualifications and background in ways that many saw as racially charged and sexist.
And you know what? Our country needs a very smart person, and I don't think she's a very smart person.
Yet Harris stood her ground. During the vice presidential debate with Mike Pence, she delivered a line that resonated with millions. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
in.
It wasn't just a moment, it was a declaration. Harris's calm yet assertive response to Trump in Pence's attacks solidified her image as someone who could hold her own in the face of relentless criticism. It was a moment that symbolized her strength and her ability to confront the chaos head-on. The 2020 election didn't end quietly. Trump refused to concede, launching baseless claims of voter fraud.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country.
That culminated in one of the darkest days in American history, the January 6th Capitol riot. His refusal to accept defeat fractured the country even further, and for many it was a moment that tested the very fabric of American democracy.
That officer's gonna get down.
On January 6th, the world watched in horror as the Capitol was stormed. Democracy itself seemed to hang by a thread, and the images of that day were seared into the minds of Americans. For Trump, this moment defined the end of his presidency, but for Kamala Harris, it marked the beginning of something new. While the Capitol was under siege, Kamala Harris was preparing to make history as the first female vice president and the first woman of color to hold that office.
I know Donald Trump is tight.
The contrast between Trump's defiance and Harris's historic moment couldn't have been more stark. Even after leaving office, Donald Trump has continued his assault on Kamala Harris. Whether it's her handling of immigration, her focus on voting rights, or her role in the Biden administration's economic recovery efforts, Trump hasn't let up. He has repeatedly criticized her for what he calls her radical left agenda, framing her as the embodiment of the progressive policies his base fears. For Trump, attacking Harris isn't just about policy, it's about symbolism. She represents everything his movement opposes: multiculturalism, progressivism, and a vision of America that prioritizes equity and inclusion. For Trump supporters, Harris is the face of the radical left. But for Harris, the fight is about more than just political differences. It's about building an America that reflects its diverse population. As vice president, Harris has been handed some of the most challenging tasks, leading efforts on immigration reform, addressing systemic racism, and ensuring voting rights for all Americans. Many of the issues she's tackling are deeply intertwined with undoing the policies Trump put in place. Harris has been tasked with some of the toughest issues facing the nation, and she's done so knowing full well that every step she takes is being scrutinized by Trump and his supporters. But her commitment to justice and progress hasn't wavered. Now, with the 2024 election on the horizon, this rivalry is about to reach its peak. Joe Biden has stepped aside, and Kamala Harris has officially taken the Democratic nomination, setting the stage for a direct rematch with Donald Trump, who is determined to reclaim the presidency. The stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just an election, it's a battle for the future of America. The upcoming 2024 election isn't just another race for the White House, it's a defining moment for the nation. Trump's comeback campaign is rooted in the same populist, nationalist message that propelled him to victory in 2016, while Harris is running on a platform that champions progress, inclusivity, and justice. This race is about more than politics. It's about the soul of the country. The first debate between Harris and Trump, held on September 10, 2024 in Philadelphia, was explosive. Harris zeroed in on issues like reproductive rights, gun control, and climate change, while Trump leaned heavily on immigration and the economy, reigniting his America First message. The stakes were palpable, and post-debate polls showed Harris gaining ground, particularly among independents and suburban voters. This debate marked a pivotal moment in the election. For many, Harris's performance was a reminder of her ability to speak to the critical issues facing the country, while Trump's supporters saw a return to the rhetoric that once energized them. But this race is far from over. As of mid-September, polling shows a tight race, with Harris holding a slight lead nationally but facing stiff competition in crucial battleground states like Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. Trump's base remains fiercely loyal, but Harris's focus on expanding her coalition, particularly among young voters, minorities, and women, could be the key to her victory. Every vote matters. In this election, swing states will be the deciders, and Harris's ability to connect with voters in these regions will be critical. Trump is doubling down on his rural base, while Harris is reaching out to urban and suburban voters. The outcome will be razor thin, and every campaign stop, every speech could tip the scales. At its core, this rivalry between Trump and Harris isn't just about policy, it's about the identity of America. Trump's base sees him as a defender of traditional values, a bulwark against globalization and the liberal elite. Harris, on the other hand, represents a future that is diverse, inclusive, and progressive. This election is about more more than just policy differences. It's about the kind of America we want to live in. Trump represents a return to nationalism, traditionalism, and a rejection of the multiculturalism that has shaped America's evolution in recent decades. Harris stands for progress, equality, and a vision of the country that reflects its diversity and complexity. The media has played a significant role in amplifying this divide. Trump has consistently framed the mainstream media as biased against him, while Harris has been both celebrated and criticized for her role in the Biden administration. As the election draws nearer, the spotlight on both candidates will only intensify. And so, as we approach November, one thing is clear. This isn't just another election. It's a referendum on what kind of America we want to be. Will Donald Trump stage a comeback and redefine his political legacy? Or will Kamala Harris shatter the highest glass ceiling and become the first female president in U.S. history? The stakes couldn't be higher, and the future of America hangs in the balance. This rivalry is about more than just two candidates. It's about the very soul of the nation. Thank you for joining us on The Sagan Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Who do you think will come out on top in this historic election?